Let me paint a picture you probably recognize. You set your eating window. You white knuckle through the morning. You check every box the internet told you to check. And after a month of genuine effort, you pull up your shirt in the mirror and somehow look worse than when you started. Your face is thinner, sure, but that stubborn ring of softness around your belly hasn't budged. If anything, it feels like it's expanding. So you do what any logical person would do. You blame yourself. You think your willpower is too weak, or your genetics are too stubborn, or you're simply past the age where this stuff works anymore. But here's the truth nobody in the fitness space wants to admit. Intermittent fasting is not a willpower test. It is a hormonal conversation between your brain, your gut, and your fat cells. And right now, you are saying all the wrong things. When that conversation goes well, your body calmly opens its deepest fat reserves and burns them for fuel, like a furnace that finally got oxygen. But when that conversation goes wrong, and I'm about to show you 5 specific ways it goes wrong, your body interprets the silence between meals not as a strategy, but as a threat. It responds the way any organism responds to a threat. It holds on tighter, it burns less, and it starts sacrificing the very tissue that keeps your metabolism alive. The first mistake might sound harmless, but it sabotages the entire biological point of skipping breakfast. Most people know they shouldn't eat during their fasting window, but they figure a little flavor doesn't count. A pump of sugar-free syrup in the coffee, a stick of mint gum, a squeeze of lemon and honey in warm water. After all, we are talking about maybe 5 or 10 calories. Surely that can't matter. Except fasting was never about the calories. It was always about the hormone. Insulin is the gatekeeper of your fat cells. When insulin is circulating, your body physically cannot release stored fat. It is chemically locked away. And here's what catches people off guard. Your pancreas does not wait for food to actually hit your stomach. The moment your tongue registers sweetness, your brain fires a preparatory signal telling your pancreas to release insulin before digestion even begins. Researchers call this the cephalic phase insulin response. You could call it a false alarm. Either way, the result is the same. You spent 16 hours earning the right to burn fat, and 1 sip of flavored coffee slammed the vault shut. You endured all the hunger and collected none of the reward. Now, suppose you avoided that trap entirely. You drank plain water and black coffee like a monk. Noon arrives and you are ready to eat. This is where mistake number 2 destroys people, and it has nothing to do with how much you eat. It is about what you eat first. After 16 hours without food, your cells are in a state of heightened sensitivity. They are starving for input. Whatever you deliver first gets absorbed with tremendous speed and intensity. If that first bite is a piece of toast, a granola bar, or a glass of orange juice, you are flooding hyper-receptive cells with pure glucose. Your blood sugar doesn't climb, it erupts. Your pancreas responds with a tidal wave of insulin to contain the damage. And because your body cannot possibly use all that energy at once, it does the only thing it can. It packages that glucose and stuffs it directly into fat storage. You just converted a fat-burning state into a fat-building state in under 10 minutes. 2 hours later, your blood sugar crashes, and you are ravenous again, craving the exact foods that caused the problem. It is a vicious loop, and it resets every single day. But even if you nail the fasting window and break your fast with protein and healthy fats, there is a third mistake happening behind the scenes that most people never detect. This one is invisible, and it is especially devastating for anyone over 40. Your body treats fasting as a mild stressor. Under normal conditions, that mild stress is beneficial. It forces adaptation. It makes you sharper and more resilient. But your body does not experience fasting in isolation. It adds fasting stress on top of every other stress you carry. The job pressure, the poor sleep, the endless caffeine, the emotional weight of daily life. When those layers stack up, your adrenal glands flood your bloodstream with cortisol, and chronically elevated cortisol triggers a devastating chain reaction. Your liver receives a distress signal demanding emergency fuel. Since you haven't eaten, your liver has no dietary glucose to offer, so it finds an alternative source. It begins breaking down your own muscle tissue, converting amino acids into sugar through a process called gluconeogenesis. Read that again. You are fasting. You have eaten nothing. Yet your blood sugar is rising and insulin is climbing because your body is literally digesting your own muscles to manufacture glucose. You are dissolving the metabolically active tissue that burns calories at rest and replacing it with belly fat. That is why you look soft even though you are barely eating. You are not lazy. Your stress hormones are cannibalizing your metabolism. Now, here is where it gets worse. Most people respond to this frustrating plateau by doubling down. They cut their eating window shorter. They eat even less, maybe 700 or 800 calories in the entire day. That is mistake number 4, and it is a metabolic death sentence. When your calorie intake drops below a critical threshold for too long, your body initiates a defense protocol called adaptive thermogenesis. Think of it like a thermostat in a freezing house. If someone keeps opening the windows and letting the heat escape, the system eventually gives up trying to heat the whole building. It dials the temperature down to the bare minimum to conserve fuel. Your body does exactly the same thing. It slows your thyroid output. It suppresses reproductive hormones. It makes you cold, foggy, and exhausted. It stops burning fat entirely because burning fat is a luxury, and your body thinks survival is the only priority. The cruel irony is that the harder you try by eating less, the more aggressively your body fights back by burning less. You are not in a calorie deficit anymore. You are in a biological standoff, and your body always wins. The 5th mistake ties everything together, and it is the one that even disciplined people fall into, because the fitness industry practically encourages it. You tracked your macros, you hit your protein number, you stayed inside your eating window. But you filled that window with processed protein bars, seed oil-drenched takeout, and meal replacement shakes loaded with artificial ingredients. Here is the problem. Fasting does something remarkable to your gut lining. It repairs the tight junctions between intestinal cells. It reduces inflammation. It essentially resets your digestive system. But when you reintroduce highly processed inflammatory foods into that freshly repaired environment, you trigger an immune response. Your gut wall becomes irritated. Inflammatory markers flood your bloodstream. And your body responds by retaining water, sometimes 3 to 5 pounds of it overnight. That number on the scale that jumped up after a week of fasting, it might not be fat at all. It might be your immune system screaming at you through water retention. When you clean up the quality of your food, something shifts that goes far beyond the number on the scale. The mental fog you blamed on aging begins to clear. Your focus sharpens. Your mood stabilizes. That is because reduced gut inflammation lowers neuroinflammation in the brain, and your body ramps up production of something called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which functions like fertilizer for new neural connections. Fasting was never supposed to be punishment for yesterday's choices. It is preparation for who you want to become tomorrow. You were never broken. You were just sending the wrong signals to a body that was trying to protect you. Now you know how to send the right ones. If this changed the way you think about fasting, subscribe so you don't miss what comes next.